Howdy. Psychology Today, or some days ago. Robert Atkinson, PhD. Hope and the Consciousness Journey. The evolution of narratives. A personal perspective, the stories we tell are bringing us full circle. Before we go into that, this is yet another feed the good wolves kind of thing. But anyway, key points. We are the storytelling species. Narrative psychology can help us understand our storied nature. Good narratives are told and recognizable, meaning-making pattern. The hidden pattern of narratives facilitates the process of transformation. The narratives we use to define us can be unifying. Narrative psychology came into being for a few reasons. One is that, at our essence, we are the storytelling species. We think in story form, speak in story form, and bring meaning to our lives through story. Another is that we need a way to understand this storied nature of human conduct, as Théodore Chardin put it. Narrative can be synonymous with story, as both are a natural process we use to make sense of the world and our experiences in it. Narrative also refers specifically to the form, structure, or pattern an ongoing story is told. The story pattern. A ubiquitous pattern is evident from an early age in the first stories we hear. Fairy tales, myths, legends, and sacred stories of all cultures carry a built-in pattern of beginning, middle, and end. But there is a deeper level to that pattern. Hidden within the structure of story is a formula of transformation. All good stories follow the pattern of beginning, muddle, and resolution. And this pattern is to better clarify and emphasize the meaning in the story, as well as facilitate a process of transformation that keeps us moving along a trajectory intended to guide us from separation to union or wholeness. The muddles or challenges we face represent the core of the pattern that brings the process of transformation to its completion or resolution. From unifying narratives to divisive narratives and back. The storyteller's short history of the world reveals not only this formula for transformation, but also where we are right now in the evolution of narratives. There was a time when people gathered to share stories that embodied the values and principles they lived by. These stories held the community together and gave them a shared purpose. They were unitive narratives, essential to their individual and collective well-being. Then, there came a time when communities expanded, spread out, became more diverse, and experienced conflict and disorder. Out of this discord emerged divisive narratives that maintain separation. Today, as we approach a consciousness of global integration, a new story of our wholeness is needed to frame this interconnectedness. It is time to come together again through unifying narratives to share our own stories of living in a wholeness. This concise history of the world, of how stories evolved over the millennia, illustrates that nothing may be more vital right now than a healing vision that guides us toward wholeness. We can observe in this multi-millennia long process of the evolution of narratives that the formula itself of good narratives was truncated into the beginning followed by the model. That incomplete version of meaningful stories left things separate and unresolved. We can also observe that humanity started out with unitive narratives, those which resulted in a resolution to a model and at the same time completed the intent process of transformation. The language of unity. When divisive narratives were introduced, humanity became separated and has remained so. It is critical to remember that the language we use can be a catalyst for the evolution of our consciousness, just as the narratives we use to define us can be unifying. Consciously choosing language that comes from and speaks to the heart carries a power to heal the wounds of the centuries. We are entering the unifying age when a vision of reality as one will become commonplace. Only narratives guiding us toward wholeness serve this evolutionary impulse. Unifying narratives, those that originally complete the process of transformation by helping us unite the opposites around us, address the needs of our time. Unity is the primary characteristic of the wholeness of all things. Unifying narratives are essential now to bring the human family back together, one story at a time. So this is a rather interesting text. We are talking about patterns, pattern recognition, which might also indicate that we have to take in context also the repetitive aspect of history itself, which leads us ultimately to our origins, to what we are. At the very first, we are the ancestors of the survivors from ancient catastrophes. This we have all in common. It doesn't matter where you have grown up, where you live, what kind of features you have, what kind of mix you are, what kind of education you have, how much money do you have? Do you have money? This is one thing everyone on this planet shares with everyone else. Without our ancestors, you wouldn't be. No one of us would be. Nothing of this all would happen. And I'm just now talking about social things which are going on, let's put it like that. I remember I got taught in school that we have Eastern Germany and Western Germany. Later on, we got taught that there is only one left. There's just one again. And this is just one very simple example of how things you learn can change. Like, this means that learning is a never ending process. New evidence of things emerge all the time. And this article I find very interesting because he is talking about patterns and transformation and about point of views onto whatever reality, perceived reality of each individual. Let's just take this here. These stories held the community together and gave them a shared purpose. They were unitive narratives essential to their individual and collective well-being. Our ancestors, they figured out quite amazing things. They created language, writing, mathematics. They knew about the stars. They knew when do solar eclipses are happening. They knew about many things. Like, for example, recently I just noticed to think about some very probably it doesn't matter, but I think it matters because just like it's nagging. If you take whatever mineral or something like these chemical compounds and rocks and all these kind of things, and there's like all over the place, like this pyrolozite, for example. And everybody knows it has to do something with fire, hence heat. And it's, I think, a Greek word. I think it's a Greek word. I didn't have time to dive into yet. Maybe I figured out why and how and what's the thing about it. But until then, I just wanted to share this little thought nugget. Pyrolozite. Platonic solids, the triangles, the element of fire. How did they know? How did the Greeks know that? Like, how? Why? They didn't have any electron microscopes, large hadron colliders, or whatever stuff, But they knew. They were talking about rather bad things happening to them, to their ancestors. They had their gods and, all this culture. And I just want to share now a short part of a video which I think everyone has to see at least once. Because if you understand the whole thing about the topic, about that we share all the same ancestors, the same stories are shared all over the world. Like all the religions we have, it doesn't matter if you're Hindu, Jew, Christian, Muslim, whatever else there are. There are thousands of religions on earth. So in order to get a better picture of the whole, you at least watch through 51% of all those narratives, religious systems, through reality at least once. A little bit more than a half in order to get a better glimpse of the real story behind the story. Or you can make, in a way, a shortcut and listen to Dave Talbott, who figured out very amazing things. He was working together with Immanuel Velikovsky. Immanuel Velikovsky and Albert Einstein, they knew each other. They have been talking. But now, just for the emphasizement of the unifying aspect of the electric universe, of the Saturn myth, of Velikovsky's theory, we are all the ancestors of the survivors who experienced the same things. Squatterman's plasma instabilities, the Christmas tree, Santa Claus, the reindeers, the sun is reindeering, polar lights, all the flags, what we have, coat of arms with the lions, with the dragons, with the bears, with the unicorns, with the griffins, with the eagles, all that. But let me show you quickly a part of the video. Yeah, maybe just watch from here a little bit. Have you ever really watched at your hand?
The theme is universal. The warrior's armor was the radiance of the great star, and that is the explanation for the unexplained radiant crown of kings. As the forms of the configuration changed, the mythic interpretations changed as well. In pictures and words, the ancient chroniclers recounted the cosmic conjunction of the goddess and the warrior. The goddess was the eye, and the warrior was the pupil of the eye. Two spheres in alignment inspired a mythical interpretation as an eye and pupil inscribed upon the hand of God. The 5 fingers of the hand were the visible aspects of an 8-spoked wheel in a different phase. Buddhist symbolists knew that the hand bore a secret relationship to the 8-spoked Dharma wheel. Buddha was the motionless axle of the wheel. Enthroned upon the hand of heaven, he was surrounded and protected by the celestial fire of the gods. Every form that arose provoked a variety of mythical interpretations, not just a single idea. The spokes of the wheel were the animating soul and power of the universal sovereign, exploding into life at sunset. That is the meaning of the mythic plant of life. Things seen in the sky provoked hundreds of imaginative images, and not one speaks for events in the heavens today. Not a single one. Even when the concrete form of the cosmic original was forgotten, the imaginative idea persisted for thousands of years. Innumerable concrete details will not allow us to just make up explanations for the myths and symbols. Some symbols remained abstract, but more often they added mythical interpretation to the underlying form. and many mythical images seemingly incompatible will trace to the same tangible form. The plant of life was not just an attractive design element. It was a form in the sky, inspiring a story of vast influence. In his birth or rebirth, the warrior god emerged from the radiant flower. The diverse mythical interpretations and the larger stories told about these events all point to a unified substructure of human memory.
Yes. You know, I have been thinking about all kinds of things, like, for all my life. Explanations for whatever things. And it's not just like it's for a reason I share that. Because there's too much things are going on you know, we are supposed to be the most best race ever roamed on this planet, but somehow, if you understand that we are the same, doesn't matter what you believe in. Do you believe in any god? Do you see yourself as a part of a religion? Whatever it might be. For me, I don't belong or whatsoever. I've never belonged to any church. I couldn't somehow identify myself with how to say it, a world picture which you have to believe in. Yeah, borders. Why? And after many years of research and all these kind of things, I stumbled across this, and that's by far the best explanation for many things. And I think it's just very important for everyone to watch that with an open mind, like really open. And yeah, I think I leave it here, but yeah, it's very interesting, especially being at the point of time we are now in. Sun cycles and stuff, the climate is changing, many things are going on, many things, very interesting times. Yeah. Thanks.